Welcome to Deathrace King, Part 2, the deep dive, the deeper dive. We are going full geek mode here, so let's discuss Deathrace King. Alright, let's deep dive. We booked Studio Fredman for 4 weeks. We are pretty sure it was 4 weeks. Could have been 3, but we believe, after some discussions, that it was 4 weeks. And yeah, before Deathrace King we had recorded 3 albums at Studio-MarkoTervonen in Malmö, and we tried to learn something from those recording sessions that were pretty tough, to be honest. And the lessons learned was that we didn't want to record the standard way: drums first, bass later, guitars, and then vocals last. And the very typical order to do it. And so we sort of challenged Fredrik that we want all the basic instruments to be armed and ready, so that Janne could continue that he started with on Hell Is Here, that actually record 1 song per day. So Janne recorded 1 song and we started adding guitars and bass right away. And that's also pretty cool thing, because you keep everybody busy all the time. So instead of the singer coming in and sitting there on the couch for 3 weeks until it's his time, you know, so everybody keeps all the time busy and doing their thing. So it's quite a good thing. I remember Fredrik wasn't a big fan of it. He's a bit more structured kind of guy. He wants to do it drums first, bass later, etc. But yeah, we challenged him on that and asked him, pretty please, can we just make it work? And he agreed to it. So typical day would be Janne come in, does a drum take, and actually on this album, according to Janne, 8 out of 11 songs were first takes. So that's big words, but I believe him. It was basically the same thing on Hell Is Here, even better. So typical day, Janne comes in, does a take, we all say, all good. Then we start adding stuff. Most likely bass first, and then we go on to the rhythm guitars. And maybe even at that point, Johan starts to add vocals. It depends what we sort of can do per day, but Janne's approach was he will perform 1 song per day. And then the rest of us kept on adding as good as we could, 8-9 hours per day. So that was the approach. And for the drums, I have a bit of a sheet note here. I've talked to Janne about it, and let's geek down. This is the information from Janne regarding the setup. All songs were recorded without click track, besides Dead Man's Song. I'm gonna get back to you why that was the reason. And his preparations for the album was that when he played alone in the rehearsal room, he always played to a click track to sort of mentally program the flow of the songs, because we basically never change a BPM in a song. We're not a big fans of that. So usually we decide on a good tempo, 210, 220, depends on the mood, depends on the level of coffee. And we just, his approach, he will train the drums with the metronome, and then when we rehearse by the whole band, he turns off the metronome. So we basically play to Janne, not to a click track. So that was the approach in the studio. Janne went in without click track, besides Dead Man's Song, and just nailed down the takes, you know. And the extra geeky stuff here. Tom drum heads, good old Remo Pinstripe. If you're a drummer, you know about them. They've been around forever. They have a specific sound, good attack. Classic stuff. And most likely on the kick drums, Evans EQ1 drum heads. Doesn't say much to me, but I'm not a drummer. And on the snare there was an Evans Power Coat reverse dot, if that makes any sense. And it was a Pearl Masters custom snare, a wood snare. So I remember that snare. It was pretty cool sounding, very snappy one. Let me see. That was about it. And he attempted to do the standard drummer mistake to leave the most difficult song to last. But Fredrik sort of noticed that and forced him to play Killing Star a bit, in the middle of the songs in the set. Not that Killing Star is the difficult one, but that was the last song we wrote for Deathrace King. So yeah, it means that it was less rehearsed. But yeah, to my recollection, it was a 1 or 2 takes and that was it. So yeah, that's what we can remember about the drums. It was pretty straightforward, and as I mentioned in the last episode, when we go into the studio, we basically just execute. There is not a lot of discussions about, oh, how should we do here? We know exactly what to do. It's about pushing rec. And bass, Mr. Magnus Wolffeldt. I have a sheet note here as well. He said he used a Rickenbacker replica bass. I don't know, sounded good. And a Mesa Boogie V twin pedal, that's the one with the tubes in it. And he believes it was an Ampeg V4 bass head. And it was a 2x12 homemade, custom-made sort of cab to it. And Jan, being the electrical engineer he is, he built actually a split box to Magnus, so he could split the clean signal, and yeah, the other signal goes to the distortion part of the sound. And so we recorded the bass on 2 tracks, and then it's up to Fredrik in the end to blend it. And that's a good classic trick to do it. The distortion is usually in the mid and high area. That's where we hear the eh. And if you want that low end, you lose it when you distort it, but then you revert and blend in the clean bass. So then you get the full spectrum of the bass. So and it's a pretty solid bass tune there. A lot of distortion actually. You can hear on the intro to Devil Gate Ride. It's basically like a guitar, but maybe it was a bit exaggerated on that part. But yeah, he always loved that good old distortion there, and it suits his playing style as well. And speaking of that, I don't remember about knowing Magnus. I think he was all about 1 takes, 1 tops 2 takes, and he likes to stand up when he plays. The rest of us geeks sit down and play guitar, but he stands up, most likely put on his what was it called, sunglasses, and just nails the takes, and it's usually a walk in the park. It's another thing if we end up in the classic studio scenario that, oh, that's not the riff, that's not how it goes, and he needs to relearn it. It can take a while, but when he's locked in, it's all about just hammering down. And for the guitars, I think I mentioned it, we used Fredrik's gear. I think it was Fredrik's 5150 or mine. I think it was Fredrik's. Fredrik's PV 5150. We did 1 take each, me and Marcus, and then we overdubbed it with an Engel Savage. And that was quite standard way for Fredrik to capture the full body guitar sound. You want the distortion, you want to hear the tone, you want the bottom end, all of that stuff, good stuff. And we used, I'm not sure when Fredrik started to use it, but we used it for the Deathrace King session. His, I believe it's called like Fredman mic technique. It's 2 Shure SM57s, 1 straight to the cone and 1 45 angled. You take those 2 signals and you blend it to your liking, because that's a pretty clever trick, because when you blend it, okay, you need to phase invert the other channel. That's important, otherwise it sounds really hollow. But when you adjust the signals of those two sounds, because it sounds very different when it's 45 degrees angle there, it sort of EQs. It starts to remove some of the very high-end hiss sounds from the guitar, and so it's a pretty cool way to sculpture the guitar sound. I also learned later on that that's also a trick that Bob Rock uses. You know, maybe multiple microphones, but you use those and you adjust the levels, and you know if a certain mic is more prominent to like low mids, you can, you know, you push that in, then it removes the low end from the other mic. And there's a lot about phasing, and you sort of, that's how you EQ. You phase frequencies towards each other to remove them or amplify. So yeah, I told you we're gonna get full geek mode here. So yeah, I don't have specific memories of the rhythm guitar parts. It was 2 guitars each, as I mentioned, so 4 channels each that then Fredrik blended into a nice stereo image. And I'm usually on the left side, Marcus on the right side. Sometimes if there's a specific melody, something, most likely one of my songs, then I add it to the middle as an add-on. We don't pan it out or anything. Maybe on Deathrace there isn't that much of that. Maybe in a Death Explosion in the end, that's a typical add-on. But prior to that, if you look at like Eternal Death, there's a shitload of melodies that I wish we would have added as an add-on, because now the melodies are on my side of the guitars and they should be centered. But yeah, never mind. You're never happy anyway in the end, so you need to regret something. And tuning, we tune down Dead Man's Song and Vengeance. That's in D. Rest of the tracks are in standard E tuning. That definitely adds that thrash feel to it. I spoke a bit about that in part 1, but it just does so much to the overall sound. And later on we went to C, and for the latest album, The Crown of Thorns, we went back to D. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but there's a lot of people that I did interviews with. They say, something sounds more energetic, what is it? And it's most likely the tuning as well, you know, it doesn't get this muddy, and yeah, it just adds youthful energy. So fake it till you make it, right? But yeah, Dead Man's Song was one of the songs that we tuned down, and now I'm gonna get back to why Janne played this on the click track. Fredrik had this idea that we should, because everything was recorded on tape. Shit, did I mention this in part 1 about, never mind, here it goes again. Fredrik had this idea that if you speed up the tape and you speed up the tempo of the song, and Janne plays it a bit faster to a click track, and then you set the tape back to normal speed, normal speed, then it becomes the normal tempo of it. But what it does to the sound is all the sustain and all the cymbals and ambient stuff like that, when you set down the tempo to normal tempo, all those get a bit delayed. So everything sounds a bit longer, all the cymbal hangs and stuff like that. So not sure if it's super prominent in the end, but I love the idea of that trick. I wish I could do that again someday, and you know, really mess with it, and because that's what you get, those, you know, like those opening double cymbal hit on whatever, Nothing Else Matters, you know, you hear the cymbals, you know, that's not sure if Bob Rock did that trick, but that's the effect you get out of it. So that's the reason Dead Man's Song was recorded on click track. Another pretty cool thing is the song Vengeance. That's also the down-tuned groovy one. And maybe 6 months before we entered the studio, me and Marcus we joined an audio engineering course here in our hometown, and I believe it was 1 day per week we spent there tweaking, recording, and what we did was that we recorded a lot of Crown stuff, Deathrace King stuff. For my songs, I sort of played the drums for the easier ones, did my song Vengeance. I think I did Back from the Grave, you know, cheating on the 2-beat, not the double one, but you know, we just recorded. The first idea, we need to record something so we can tweak and learn. And later we realized, oh, whoa, let's call Janne, let's get his drum kit in here. And so Janne came into this course, this studio, very simple studio, but so he recorded Rebel Angel, Executioner, Death Explosion, I Won't Follow. So basically, we had demoed the whole album besides Killing Star, I think. Yeah, Total Satan you also recorded. All of those stuff is available as a bonus disc on the World Destroyer. But back to Vengeance, the mid part where we go slow down the tempo, and I wanted this huge freaking 80s snare reverb thing going on, something like that. And we tried and we tweaked everything on 11, but it didn't do the trick. So someone, I'm not sure who, came up with the idea, yeah, there's a metallic trash can right outside the studio, so bring it in and mic it up and hit on that. So we did that. So we brought it in, I hit it, and we reverbed the shit out of it, and it sounded perfect. So when we were recording the actual Deathrace King album, we tried to reproduce it. It didn't work. So I had to go back to the studio, the training studio, and you know, try to bounce from tape that hit, because it was recorded with all the effects and reverbs and all that. So I need to go there and extract that into I don't know, that tape or something, and give it to Fredrik. So that is the sound effect you hear on Vengeance. It was from that audio engineering course that we recorded. That was pretty cool. And that's a typical thing when you demo stuff. I can promise you 9 out of 10 bands, there's always a discussion. I was better on the demos. That or that part, lead guitar or whatever. Something was always better on the demos. And that's the curse. That's the good and bad sides of doing demos, because sometimes you nail this perfect lick or lead or drum fill, and you can never reproduce it. So, but yeah. That was the thing with Vengeance for the special effects thing. I know there was someone in the comments asking for it, so there you go, sir. Let me see. Yeah, we recorded, and I talked about the vocals. Johan lost his voice, and even though we split it up, that most likely we all started with doing 1 song per day, but things then get, you know, the time is always against you, the crunch time is there, and I'm sure Johan started to do multiple vocals per day, but yeah, he got to the point that he lost his voice, and yeah, time was ticking. Time is in the recording business, and we had to start mixing without a couple of songs without vocals, so that we wouldn't lose time. So I think Killing Star, I mentioned, was mixed without vocals in the first episode, but I'm pretty damn sure even I Won't Follow was. But that was the thing. We started mixing. Fredman is syncing the, you know, ADATs and Pro Tools, and some things got transferred to Pro Tools, and the drums were always from the 2-inch tape, and yeah, we had to start mixing. And later on, I'm not sure if it was like in the end of the mixing or if it even happened in a mastering session, most likely in the mixing. But Johan came in, and when his voice was fine, he nailed those 2 songs, and they were sort of added on the mixed wave file basically, and tried to make it fit in. But I remember at that time I was like, it's gonna sound terrible, but no one has ever reacted to it. Besides Johan, who still today says that the vocals on Killing Star are like 1 nanosecond delayed or something like that. But we went mastering with Göran Fimber at Mastering Room. I have no memory of it. Pretty sure I wasn't even there. I think Johan and Magnus was there. It's located in Gothenburg, so it makes sense that at least Magnus was there because he was living there. And I don't think there was anything to sort of save in the mix. It was more about little tweaking and setting the levels per song, and yeah, then Deathrace King was done. And yeah, later on it got released, obviously on standard CD, but also this pretty cool thing. If you can see it, it's printed on the plastic itself in like silver mirror thing, and very cool, very cool. Limited edition, not sure about how many, but that's a cool version. And of course, remember tape? And vinyl, of course. So those were the formats, and Metal Blade still reprints it. It still sells. Not sure who buys it, if people want multiple copies or we actually find new fans of it or something. But yeah, it's a pivotal album for us. We were on fire. I will say till my last breath that the energy level on this album is off the charts. It's unbelievable. When I listen to it today, it's like, whoa. So yeah, it was a good recording. We played shitloads of Tekken, or was it Mortal Kombat? Maybe Tekken, and it was a really nice studio. Back then, Fredrik had it on this top floor, very close to the central Gothenburg, and it was a huge place, multiple rooms, kitchen, living rooms, all kinds of stuff, and very, very nice studio to be in. So yeah, that's Deathrace King, and if you have any questions or something, drop it in the comments, and hit that good old subscribe and like if you want to hear more this type of babble from albums or something else. So, all right, have a good day.